Who's hungry? The deli's open. Hey guys, Marco D'Angelo here for WagerTalk TV. It is Marco's Deli, and if you've been following us this season, 3 straight winning episodes to start the season. We started in week 1 of the NFL, and we have gone 10-5 for you with our selections here on the show. Hope you're enjoying it. We've got 5 more winners for you this week. Let's get right into the action. And we're going to start with a Friday night game this week. Florida State travels to Virginia. Now, this is a bad spot for Florida State here, is they've got to travel on a short week to play a Friday night conference game. These weeknight TV games are always a big disadvantage for the road team, especially the conference games. Make it a TV game, and you have that added excitement on campus in the stadium. And we're going to look to the home team in this one. But the real reason here for this one is Florida State. How can they not help look ahead to next week? They're coming off a blowout win in their last game, and now they've got on deck next week Miami of Florida, one of their biggest rivals, hated rival, and Miami of Florida, top 5 in the country. So going to be tough spot for them this week. I like this Virginia team. I think they can take this one right down to the wire, pull off an upset, talk about a colossal sandwich spot. Let's go ahead and take Virginia plus the 7 is the first play here on Marco's Deli. Now let's move to the second game on the docket. And we're going to take a look at Appalachian State at Boise State on Saturday. Here's another bad spot. Boise State is here. They're coming off playing a conference game last week against Air Force. Now, we were on Boise State in that game. They got the job done for us. But coming off that Air Force game where they had to face 54 running attempts from Air Force, they've got to return home, lay 16 points to an Appalachian State team, a non-conference game, and talk about polar opposites. After the 54 rushing attempts from Air Force last week, they're going to see 50-plus attempts passing the football this week from Appalachian State. Throw in the fact that Appalachian State had an extra week to prepare for this game is another advantage for Appalachian State. And then when you look at who Boise State has on deck, guys, we tell you always got to look at who's on deck in the schedule. And Boise State goes to Notre Dame next week. We tell you these teams that don't, you always get up for playing Notre Dame, especially when you're making the trip to Notre Dame. And when you don't play them, that is a big game. They're looking ahead. I can't lay 16 points with them in this game. There's only one way to look at this game, and that is to look at the underdog, Appalachian State, plus the 16. Another huge sandwich spot. For play number 3, well, let's take a look at San Jose State at Stanford. Last week, San Jose State, a home favorite of 14.5 points, barely beat Idaho. 31-28, win by a field goal. So how in the world can they go on the road and beat Stanford? Well, let's start by throwing out that game last week. San Jose State was looking right past Idaho, okay? They were looking ahead to this one against Stanford. It's not often you get a chance to play one of the big brothers in the state. Now, I always tell you about, I call these games big brother, little brother. When you've got 2 teams in the same state, but obviously one of the schools comes from a bigger conference, they are the big brother, and the other team is the little brother. And little brother always gets up for an opportunity to knock off big brother. I also got to worry about the fatigue factor with Stanford. Stanford has played 3 of their 4 games so far this year on the road. And when I say on the road, I mean on the road. They have racked up some frequent flyer miles. They started the season, they went to Hawaii. They also had a road trip to BYU. And last week, they went cross country to play Virginia. And remember, they play in the ACC now, and that crazy scheduling, taking them back and forth across country, that's got to take its toll on a team. I'm going to look for San Jose State. And by the way, just looking at the line, you've got Stanford versus San Jose State, and the line is only 3. And as I said, San Jose State barely beat Idaho last week. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take San Jose State here plus the points. +3 for play number 3. Now, before we get into the next 2 games here on Marco's Deli, got a little business to take care of. Guys, if you appreciate these videos that I'm doing for you, do me a favor. Take a second, hit the thumbs up, give us a like. It really does help the channel out. And if you got friends, send them the link. Tell them about it. Let them make some money too. It all helps the channel out. And if you want to make sure you never miss any of these videos, hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything to do that. You'll be notified every time there is a new video. And guys, if you like the way I break games down and you want me to do it for you on the weekend like I do for my premium clients, well, check out WagerTalk's special offer right now. It's the Weekend Warrior package. It's just $49. You can get all of my football Saturday and Sunday. Get everything, college and pro, Saturday and Sunday. And oh, by the way, guys, over the last 2 seasons, I am number 2 at WagerTalk in Money One. We have had a great football run the last few years. You can join me this weekend for just $49. And don't forget, that does include any 5% plays. Those 5% plays, 32-14 since February of 2024. Haven't finalized the card completely yet, but it does look like we will have a 5% this weekend. So check that out, just $49. And guys, if you enjoy watching the Bet On It show with myself, Kelly in Vegas, and of course, Yanni, the Greek gambler, we've got a special offer for you. It's the Bet On It combo. If you want to get my plays and Yanni's plays for the rest of the season, all the way through the Super Bowl, college and pro football, individually, that package, $739 for me or $739 for Yanni. If you want to get us both, you can do a combo deal for just $11.98. That saves you $300 on the 2 of us, and you'll get all of our plays. It's a great 1-2 punch for your football season. You can get those packages, any of the packages that I mentioned today, over at WagerTalk.com. Go to my homepage. You'll find the specials. All right, let's get back to some winners for you. And we're going to take a look at Cincinnati at Kansas in college football. Last week, we gave you Kansas right here on the show, and there was a big reason for that, is we were catching West Virginia in a horrible spot. They were coming off playing Pittsburgh in the backyard brawl, big rivalry game the week before. They came from behind, got the win. I told you they're going to be flat as a pancake last week when they go to Kansas, and Kansas took advantage of it, pummeling them 41-10. Well, this week the roles are reversed. I am going to go against Kansas here. Little fat and sassy for them. We also have the fact that Cincinnati comes in here, had 2 weeks to prepare for Kansas. Cincinnati, in my opinion, is a very live dog in this game. Kansas, they look better than their record. Their record, what they say, they look better than they really are. They've caught in some teams at the right spot. I think Cincinnati is a very live dog. I think they win this game outright. They're getting 7, so we're going to go ahead and take Cincinnati plus the 7 is play number 4. And let's head to the NFL for our last play. You know, by the way, our NFL play so far after 3 weeks, we've given you 4 college, 1 NFL each week. We're a perfect 3-0. Can we make it 4-0 this week? Well, let's try it with the Atlanta Falcons. Washington goes to Atlanta. Now, last week, Washington won big as they destroyed the Raiders 41-24. But there were a couple things in play there. First off, QB Daniels was out for Washington. And as I told you guys many times, the injured team, the first week of the injury, they are a play-on team. Why? Well, the rest of the team sucks it up. They give 110% to compensate for the loss. And oftentimes, the team that they're playing might take them a little bit for granted, thinking they caught a break with the injury. We always say, take the injured team in week 1, plus you're always going to get the benefit of the line because Vegas is always going to over-adjust the line because of an injury. Well, that's what happened last week, and Washington was able not only win, they won comfortably. But there's a second part to that. When a team wins that first game with the injury, then we go against them in the second week because the team doesn't have that same sense of urgency. They feel, okay, we're going to be all right. We won last week. And let's not forget that win last week, it was over the Raiders. The Raiders are not a good football team, and the Raiders were in a bad scheduling spot. If you remember, the Raiders opened the season on the road in New England. Then they came home and played on Monday Night Football. All right. Now, coming off Monday Night Football, playing on Monday, and then remember, that was also a doubleheader Monday. They played the late game on Monday. Now they had to play on the road for a second time in 3 weeks, cross-country trips. That was just a horrible scheduling spot for the Raiders, and Washington took advantage of it. Now, on the flip side to that, we look at the Atlanta Falcons, and we're getting the benefit here of, I think, some value, line value, because the market's overreacted to Atlanta getting trounced last week. That was just a bad spot, I feel, for Atlanta. They were coming off a Sunday night victory. You have a young quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., who's only made a handful of starts. Well, he won a primetime game the week before against Minnesota, and then they were playing on the road for a second week in a row, and they were playing at Carolina, a winless team. I think they got caught looking past that team, and it cost them. That won't happen this week. We're going to go ahead and take Atlanta over Washington, take Atlanta plus the 1.5 in this one. I think they get the job done. I think they have success running the football against Washington, and we're going to use that angle, go against the injured team in week 2 after they won week 1. Now, Washington officially hasn't announced the quarterback yet as the time of us taping this, but even if Daniels would come back, it's still a play because when the injured quarterback comes back, it's the same reverse effect as if when the starter goes out. For the team being pumped up to compensate for the loss, oftentimes when the injured quarterback comes back, they exhale, so to speak, take a breath and say, okay, we're good now, the starter's back. Either way, we like Atlanta in this spot. Take them plus the 1.5. They win this one outright. Guys, again, I appreciate you hanging out with me here on Marco's Deli. Truly appreciate each and every one of you guys. Leave me a comment. Tell me who you like this week. Tell me what games you agree with, which ones you don't agree with. Tell me if I'm nuts. Tell me if you like the plays. But I always enjoy hearing from you guys. And until next week, guys, good luck. Let's cash some tickets. I'll see you next week on Marco's Deli.